Hey all, how you doing? It's a Pearlo Wisdom Show. I'm supposed to do the Pearlo. How you doing, Lauren? Welcome into the live, my friend. Um, I get the real question I think right now is how many games are there going to be? I'm hearing lots of stuff about more games being canceled. Yamamoto's been pulled from practice. McDavid is. Yeah, he got COVID. And Holloway's out for longer. Connor McDavid, Tyson Barrie. Oh, they're eligible to exit. Okay, that's good. So McDavid's back. That's good. Yeah, finally your Canes get to play. Well, how many? Hey, Mercer, how you doing, buddy? How many games has it been? Because I'm a little concerned. They're coming in cold, but against Calgary, who is on a back-to-back. They got smoked pretty good against the Lightning. They got smoked against Florida. So I would think that Carolina better be prepared today because I think this is going to be a desperate Calgary team. That being said, I don't see them doing anything. I don't see them winning it. It's a good thing Anderson is in. That's a good thing. But yeah, who knows? It's what it says, anyways. It says he's negative now, so take it or leave it. Well, take it for whatever you will. I don't know how any of this works. I'm not even going to try to pretend I can figure out how all this works. I don't know. I do know that Saravelli, a pretty good guy from Face Off or whatever, that he's a pretty good insider because they've got any site that has a goaltender where it tells you who's going to be in net. Usually it's pretty good insider information. And it appears that Thomas Hertl is going to be on the block. It doesn't look like they're going to be able to come to contract terms, which I think probably means that Hertl just wants a new place. He wants to try somewhere else. He wants to go somewhere else. And I honestly don't think that's what San Jose wants to have happen. And it puts him in a really bad spot because he basically, I don't see him going to a place that, I don't know. They're going to have to find a place where they can re-sign him to get any value for him. And if they don't, then I don't think they're going to get all that much. I don't think there's a huge market out there for rentals where they're going to throw a ton at a rental. I'm going to be doing a video on it tonight. I got it already, but and I was going to do it before the show, but then I said, you know what, I want to take a little bit longer on this. So I'll have 5 teams that I think that he might go to, that he could go to. But honestly, it was really, hey, how you doing, Oilers Highlights? Welcome. The good thing about Thomas Hertl is Oilers Highlights, by the way, he has a channel. You should go check it out. Oilers Highlights. The good thing about Hertl is he can play right or center. He can play right wing or center. And the moment and you're gonna all laugh because you hear this all the time. The team that seems most interested, guess. Just take a guess. I'm just gonna take a guess at the team that seems most interested right now. Tell Todd Waddell, yeah. Don Waddell. Yeah, there you go. Eugene nailed it. New York Rangers. Now, the thing about the New York Rangers in that deal is I don't really understand. They're not really big on Strome. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that Strome is not very physical. He's not a shooter. I think that's the most thing is Strome is not a shooter. He's a passer. And they have a hard time finding a place for him because they want somebody that's going to play with Lafreniere. And Lafreniere is not really what you would call a shooter. He's more a drive to the net type guy. Yeah, he'll be desirable, but his contract makes it a little different. His contract situation makes it a little difficult. For San Jose, anyways. I think what would happen, because I just keep on hearing over and over again that the Rangers, are open to moving Strome. There's got to be a contract situation there. I'm going to bring up the Rangers here. Point-wise, they're about the same. I don't think Strome is a pretty good defensive player. They have him playing with Lafreniere. And Lafreniere is got a pretty darn good shot, but for some reason, they just don't like the fit. And if that's going to be the case, and they think they can re-sign Hertl, maybe there's other reasons. Maybe Ryan Strome's not a big fan of being in big New York. I don't know. I haven't heard anything like that, but you could see Strome plus going on. They did. Colorado did smoke Winnipeg last night. They are looking super strong. Kemper played pretty well. If Kemper can get her going there in Colorado, that team is going to be really tough to beat. Their defense is absolutely incredible. The funny thing is I don't even think Winnipeg played all that bad. It didn't play as bad as the score said. But Colorado just played that good. When Colorado's playing on the top of their game, there's not too many teams in the league that can beat them. Nick Ritchie done. I think he's going to be playing. He went through waivers, but nobody picked him up. So I guess it's a wake-up call to Nick Ritchie that you got to figure this out right now. But I mean, that's been something in his career the whole time. Didn't he get a hat trick last night? Let's look at that game. My computer moves so slow when I'm doing this. Jets Avalanche. He got what? Landeskog 3. He got a hat trick last night. Yeah, I mean, everybody got a lot of points last night. Bowen Byram, by the way, has got 5 goals and 6 assists. He's like a forward out there. 5 goals and 6 assists in how many games? Because he hasn't played that much. That lineup is just stupid. Seriously. People are all talking about Tampa Bay this year, and for good reason. But, I mean, Landeskog, McKinnon, Rantanen. Kadri's having the year of his life. 42 points in 27 games. He's come legit. Burakovsky is almost at a point a game playing with Kadri. And, of course, you got the top line. Logan O'Connor fits okay on that right side. And that's even with Nichushkin out, who brings a whole new element to that, a whole nother element to that team. Probably knocks out Kubel when he comes back, or Kubel moves to the 4th line. But if you got Nichushkin, Newhook, and Comfer, and then the defense, Bowen Byram has 5 goals in 16 games. Now, I don't know if he can hold that up, but that is pretty freaking sick. I don't know. He seems to got his minding his P's and Q's right now. I think Joe Sakic got together with them and, probably brought up a lot of players that Joe Sakic played with, a lot of players like Kadri. Mike Ricci is a good example. I think Kadri could, maybe he brought out a whole bunch of video of Mike Ricci and how Mike Ricci used to carry that line without going over it. And now remember, Mike Ricci, a lot of the stuff he would have did back in those days, he would have been suspended for today. So, but the fact there was still a line, and he was able to walk that line pretty darn good. I have to look it up if he ever got suspended. I imagine he probably went over the line a couple times, but it's hard to find that balance of playing the way Kadri does, especially at his size. He's not a very big guy. So when he's not afraid to go up against the big guys. But, sometimes you get yourself in a situation where it's just natural to get your stick up because, you're going to get really cranked there. And so Sakic probably said, hey, you know what? These are areas we don't need you to go in. We don't need you to go into this area in this spot where you've got to defend yourself with your stick or whatever the case may be. And we need you on the ice, right? So Sakic and Bednar and I imagine they had long conversations together on how to balance that line really well. And a guy that kind of came to me was like Mike Ricci. He played a lot like that. He played for Colorado, and Kadri's sort of in that mold, but maybe with more skill. And Mike Ricci was bigger. I love that guy, by the way. Mike Ricci was one of my favorite players ever. Kyle Dubas said he's not making any trades. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't do much, actually. That team is playing with he doesn't want to screw with the chemistry that's going on there. I would think that he would at least get some depth on D or something like that, but I don't think he's going to make any major trades. No, I would have to. I would. That's my take as well. Is that when you got a team that's playing with that kind of chemistry, it's kind of hard to rip it apart, Mauverer, yeah, Mauverer. I think that's how you say it, Mauverer. Yeah, I watched that game. I got to say, I didn't specifically look at that kid. I was doing a live stream last night with Peyton on the radio, by the way. It was pretty cool. I'm going to be doing more of those now. I'm going to start doing more evening live streams. So. He did pretty good. That Nashville team is tough, man. As you saw last night, that Nashville team, they are playing with a lot of heart. Duchesne, that goal that Duchesne got, straight to the pocket. Last year he wasn't doing stuff like that. Last year he would have held off and tried to bring the puck back and get a shot, hit a leg, go off into the corner and repeat. But this year he's going hard to the net. And it looks like to me that they, with Duchesne, that what they really did is said, we want you to try being tough in the sense where you change your personality to tough. And he did. He had long hair. He's got the goatee beard thing going on. He looks like, I don't know if you know, but Duchesne's a country singer. And it looks like they said, hey, you can be a country singer, but on the ice, we need you to be a cowboy. And we need you to be rough. We need you to have that cowboy mentality where you're going in there like with all guns a-blazing. And, why be a country singer off the ice And then what are you on the ice? That's what we want to know. We don't care what you are off the ice. The country singer's fine. But if you're a country singer, you're probably a fan of like the old cowboy shows and stuff like that. And it's time to roughen up. It's time to get some intensity going on there. You know, be a bull rider. Yeah, and it's up in the air where Cal Peterson is going to do that. It really is. He's had a rough year, and he's only got a couple years left on his contract. I think maybe 2 years left on his contract or something like that. And this year and next year, I think, at $5 million. And as it stands right now, that's not going to be the one. I think they're going to have to go somewhere else. Did I already talk about Tippett? No. I mean, we talked a lot about Tippett up until now. Their interesting thing, I will mention something about Tippett if you want. I was reading today in the article where I started thinking about Hertl and where he was going to go. That I think it said the 10th. There's a break after the 10th where they play Ottawa. And the writer, kind of an insider writer type guy. His contract hasn't kicked in yet. Oh, is that right? Okay, I'll take a look at that. But maybe he's putting too much pressure on himself because of the contract. I mean, Peterson's got all the tools, man. If he can mentally get it together, and you know, I think he's trying to do too much. Marc-Andre Fleury had that problem when he was younger, if you remember that. He started putting too much pressure on himself, and maybe Peterson is doing that too, and he'll be fine. I don't know, but it's a little bit concerning for sure. But this writer indicated that they think that they're planning on letting Tippett go then. They don't want to bring in a coach while they're still, and then the new coach will come in, get to know him a little bit, stuff like that. And it looks like it's going to be Woodcroft from the AHL would be the guy, which is good. A good young guy. I don't know. I'm not so sure about a guy inside the organization, but if he can be anything like what Granato is in Buffalo, then woo, I'll take that all day. Yeah, probably. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's probably, but if there's a time, that would seem like a really good time to let him go. Especially if they lose that game against Ottawa, which I think there's a pretty good chance. That's on Monday, right? No, I don't think. From what I understand, they're not going to take anybody from outside the organization. It's going to either be the assistant that took over when Tippett was on COVID, or it's going to be the guy from the AHL. That's what I'm hearing now. I heard Babcock before, but I don't know. I hope not. Hill and should be? I think you missed. I think there was an error there. Okay, so what was I looking at? LA, right? Looking at that contract for Peterson. Cal Peterson. 2025. 3 more years at $5 million. Yeah, I'm thinking that they're probably thinking as well that he's just maybe a little overdoing it because he got the big contract and he's putting too much pressure on himself. Holland won't be fired. No, there's no chance that Holland will be fired. So let's look at some of the other things that happened last night in the games last night. Not much to say about that Colorado game. They just rolled over Winnipeg. Hellebuyck was left alone. He didn't play well. I mean, it was just a bad night for Winnipeg all the way around. The Devils, I thought there was going to be more scoring in that game. I had an over on that game. The Blue Jackets are just not going to be there this year. I think they're going to fall off really bad here now. I have been hearing that Jack Roslovich is out there for a possible trade. And I mean, if I was another general manager right now, I probably would be off of that trade. He kind of got pushed out of Winnipeg. He didn't get the minutes in Winnipeg. And the reason why is he's way too perimeter. He plays, and his intensity isn't that great. And now he's in Columbus and he's from Columbus. So they took him on thinking, we got a Columbus guy here. We'll try to turn him. We'll try to turn him around. And, there's a guy that'll stay here a long time. And here he is already on the trade block again. So, but, we've seen it from lots of players where, like Milano, he went from, he had a tough time in Columbus, couldn't make the lineup. Tortorella didn't like him or whatever. And then he went to Anaheim, and he also had a tough time in Anaheim for quite a while. Also had a tough time, and then he got out of it. So maybe Jack Roslovich will find his place. One of the things that I'm telling you all the stuff that's going to be in my video, and then you're not going to watch it. But one of the guys I thought for Hertl was the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now, he would have to, I don't think he really has to okay that trade, but they're probably going to be talking to each other. And I don't know. He would have an opportunity to be a number one center for sure. If that's what he's looking for, a for sure number one center, and not really worried about winning like right away, he could work out a deal before the trade, and I could see him going something like that. And Jack Roslovich plus whatever going back. I could see it. If not, I could see him, if he goes to a team where it's just a rental, maybe Columbus tries to get him in the summer because they really need a number one center. The other interesting thing is going to be about Columbus, and I haven't heard anything about this, is Laine. Oh, okay, the play-by-play guy. Okay, cool. The Laine, I haven't heard anything about signing him, not signing him, trading him at the deadline, anything like that. Like, I don't know. Now that he's been back, he's the old Laine. He doesn't play defense. He's got a killer shot. He will get in the spots in the offensive zone. He can score a lot if he got on a really good team. But it seems to me that there's a thing about his attitude there. I don't know. It's a very odd thing to know what's going to happen with Laine. And plus, I think he believes he deserves like $8 million a year, whatever. What's Laine value at this point? That's a good question. I'll do a short to that right now. Let's talk about that. What is Laine's value? Do you guys have any clue? I have a tough time figuring out what his value is, to tell you the honest truth. Something tells you that they won't be signing Kotkaniemi and they'll let him go as a free agent. Well, that would kind of suck you through a first and a third for that. For you, it's not much. Yeah, I wonder what the thought value is in the general consensus. I mean, when you watch him in the offensive zone, he looks like he could be a superstar. But it seems like, let's face it, and I've kind of fought against it for a while. I've kind of thought otherwise about Laine. I kind of defended him and stuff like that. But now, I think he's got a selfish side. For me, when he went out and when he was off for like 2 weeks, injured, or maybe longer, I can't remember what it was. And the injury was a strained oblique. A strained oblique? Zadina for Laine? Yeah, well, hey. Do you think Stevie Yzerman wants to pony up $8 million for Laine, though? And that's going to be the big problem. I think Laine might be pricing himself right out of everything. Like, I don't know. Here's something. Maybe Laine too, because they've already made a trade. John Van how about Philadelphia for, like, he might be a bad contract, roll the dice type guy. JVR in Philadelphia. Problem is, I think they're having room problems as it is. Like, that's not the guy. Another team that I think, because they have so much leadership, maybe Boston, but they're also a team that really, because you could go like DeBrusque plus a few things for Laine, but they're a team that really doesn't take well to selfish type players either. I mean, no team really does. I'm having a hard time putting them somewhere. Maybe, Arizona doesn't want to spend that kind of money on anybody right now. Let's find a spot for Laine. Well, and maybe they do sign him. I don't know. Like, I haven't heard anything about it. Let me look it up. Laine rumors. $2021. The last, okay. NHL rumors. Patrik Laine trade bait. That's a question. So let's look. This is on Goalhorn. Pretty good site. I've been kind of perusing it quite a bit. Patrik Laine on the move again. Sportsnet Luke Fox recently posted in his bold predictions that Columbus Blue Jackets were trading Laine. The big question surrounding Laine is if he's willing to sign a long-term deal in Columbus. Maybe it's just because he doesn't want to sign a deal in Columbus. Laine will be interesting name this season. Laine moved to get a top 5 selection. I just don't see that. Like, this guy suggesting that they'll get a top 5 pick for him? No way. Hey, there's an idea, Hajin. Laine to Florida. Laine to Florida. Now that's something that makes some sense, because let's look at Florida. Laine to Florida, because they've got a lot of and don't they have Finnish players there? Barkov is Finnish. I think the problem with Florida would be, and that, first of all, I think they're looking more towards defense than offense because they score at will. But, I don't know if the return would be very much there. They would have to definitely take money back. And they don't really have any bad contracts, except for Hornqvist. But I don't see why they would want Hornqvist. I don't see why Florida. Hornqvist is almost like the heartbeat of that team. Anthony Duclair back to Columbus? That would be the thing. Tell me a deal. Work out a deal you think that would have Laine go to Florida. I right now I don't see it. Oh, I don't. Denisenko doesn't have much value right now. He's not doing very well in the AHL. Anaheim, kind of like the Solani thing. That's interesting. He would bring some excitement to them. I'm pretty sure if you propose that to Anaheim groups, they don't like it because I had Toffoli going to Anaheim, and I sent it out to the Anaheim groups on Facebook, and these are smart hockey guys. There's like smart hockey guys everywhere, man. And they were basically saying our offense is fine. I really we have a lot of young guys coming up, and I'm not really wanting to give up, much to get and put cap space on a guy like Laine. But that being said, they have like background with Solani, the Finnish idea. They have that swagger of Laine there, like if Zegras and Laine just seems to be like almost like a perfect fit. Zegras, Laine, Milano as a line just seems like sexy as heck. And it would sure draw people into the stands for sure. No doubt about it. Let me try a short here while we're doing the live. I'm going to do a short. And we're going to say, doing my live stream right now, Pearlo Wisdom, and we're coming up with Laine to Anaheim or Florida. Where would you think Laine may go? Tell me in the comment section. Okay, bye. New Jersey seems like a team that they take quirky guys like that, right, John Michael? That's a good one, man. They do need a shooter hardcore. I like that. They do need a shooter hardcore there. They take quirky guys like Hamilton. They got a lot of passers like Hughes. That's a really good one, John Michael. I like it. I'm going to post that. Comment that in my comment. I just did a short here. I like that. Hughes and Nico need a shooter hardcore. And they don't seem to be mind spending money on players. Like they gave Hamilton $8 million. It doesn't seem like they're waiting around much longer either. I think they have a feeling that they're right on the cusp of something good there. What would go back in that trade? What would go back there, you figure? Okay, so anybody that's new in here, we're doing a Laine trade right now. Trying to figure out where Laine might go. And John Michael came up with a killer idea of Laine going to New Jersey. It just seems like a kind of a right fit there. They got a couple guys that I know that, like Holtz is a shooter. They drafted him. Bratt's supposed to be more of a shooter than he is. He seems to be getting better every year. Bring Jesper Bratt back. I think they'd want to keep Bratt though. That's the thing. And Laine's big. They do got a big team there. Like Laine, Hughes, and Zacha seems like it works. The thing is like Columbus doesn't have all that much leverage. I don't think that New Jersey would want to give up their first. Let's look at New Jersey. No, he's not quite ready, but I mean, he was putting up some pretty good numbers already in the AHL. I don't think he's too far away, but he's not quite ready yet. The question is, could they still use Laine even if he is ready? Holtz is he in the minors right now? He is. He can play right or left. I think he's normally a left. So who's out? Miles Wood. Sharon Govich is there. He can play in the lower line. Zacha, they've been playing him on the left side a lot. Andreas Johnson, they don't really need him. So you could put Bratt to the left side. Now, again, return. Maybe, Yanni Kaukonen isn't really hitting it out of the park there. Like I said, I don't think they have all that much leverage, even if they do a trade. So I don't know if you'd have to give up too much. Like Kaukonen, they've been talking about Miles Wood for a long time. But, I mean, he plays the type of game that really they need there. So, I don't know. I have heard his name come up in trade rumors quite a bit, though. Maybe Kevin Ball and Kevin Ball and Yanni Kaukonen or something like that. I know they, because they do have Mamalabuk, whatever it is. How do you say his name? They do have, he's probably a ways away yet. Probably on loan. Where is he anyways? Is he in the minors right now? Macamadoulin. I don't know where he is, though. That's weird. Macamadoulin isn't even on their list of prospects here for some reason. Oh, you know what? I'm freaking looking at New York Rangers. That's funny. Yeah, Shakir Macamadoulin. That would be a lot to give up. He was a first-round pick, though. Something like that, though, maybe. Yeah, Macamadoulin. He's a big kid, like super big. He's probably going to be, they're grooming him to be a shutdown guy. I don't think he's going to be ready for a while, but I don't know if I want to give up that kind of a prime prospect for Laine. There's so many question marks about him. He's making $7 million. So you're going to have to sign him right now, and you're kind of rolling the dice on that. You got to give him a qualifying offer. I mean, there's really no use making the trade unless you sign him long term and roll the dice on it. And considering everything that's gone on with him for the last little while, the New York Rangers are going for Giroux or Hertl. Giroux to New York Rangers sounds plausible, but I really think Philadelphia would hate to trade him to the Rangers. I'm going to be doing a hurdle vid tonight. I got like five teams a hurdle could get traded to. There was a list done by oh geez, I just mentioned his name. Anyways, there was a list done by a pretty darn good insider. Let's see if I can find him here. Frank Saravelli from Daily Faceoff. And he had Hurdle at the top of that list as players that could be traded at the deadline. And yeah, Rangers are heavy on him. So I think the idea is that Strome would be part of that package. Yeah, I mean, backups you can find though, right? I don't think that would be something. They're sellers at the deadline, so I don't think they're going to worry about their backup. Severson is done. I just noticed that you said that. I could see it, but they need to replace that defense. Severson and Kaukonen. And a pick maybe or something like that. Maybe he can try his luck over in Columbus. Like I said, I just wouldn't want to give a prime pick like Macamadulin up for a guy that is a big contract that you're kind of rolling the dice on. Attitude-wise and stuff like that. I think they'd have a lot of conversation with Lindsey Ruff about Line A and really get a background on what happened in Winnipeg, why he doesn't want to be in Columbus, or does Columbus not think they want to sign him. I'm getting the idea that he is looking to be in a big city. Another one I was thinking about, that's a good trade. Yeah, because Kaukonen, Severson, I think maybe saw another thing, maybe. Because like you said, Severson hasn't worked out in New Jersey, so his value isn't the highest. Kaukonen really didn't do much either. So I think a pick is going to have to be in there, a second or something like that. Maybe I'm wrong, though. Maybe nobody wants to touch that contract, and his value is just like nothing hardly. It's possible. And then they'll, sign him to a long contract and kind of sort of roll the dice on his attitude. Another team I was thinking about that could use a shooter like that, and I don't know if Hajin is probably not going to like this too much, but is LA. And by the way, I did a little short on there, so go grab it, take a look at it, put your comments down there, give me some trade offers on that short that I did, or where you might go. I'm pretty sure Hajin is not going to be too big on Laine. However, they do need a shooter bad there. Yeah, it's just the contract is bad. The contract could be excellent. If Laine fits somewhere and they work with whatever his personality is and anything, and he can just score goals, because the guy can score goals. He's a 30-40 goal scorer. Don't expect much defense from him. He's a personality. If a coach tries to force him to play defense, like a lot of defense, he'll just come right out and say, I'm not that guy. That's not my guy. That's the way he is. And if you're not able to live with that, then his work ethic doesn't fit. Is that the problem in with Velarde? He's not able to work on his skating and all that kind of stuff like that. He's not working on his skating enough. His work ethic is not there. Because you find that with guys with injury issues, they don't really have the work ethic, because if you get injured and you don't work your bag off to come back, it doesn't heal properly, and you end up being an injury problem for a long time. The Fly. Oh, hey, Hockey News Reports. How you doing? Everybody sub up to Hockey News Reports. If you haven't already, Hockey News Reports. Make sure you're subbing up to them. And sub here, too, if you haven't already. Yeah, Kaliev's got a better two-way game. I don't know if Kaliev's ever going to be that offensive guy that he is, but he's got him on the two-way game. I mean, really, Laine could score 50. If he put his mind to it, he could score 50 goals. On a good team, on a really good team, with a strong center. Even like with a guy like Hertl, like it doesn't even have to be that strong of a center. He could score 50 goals. Oh, I'm glad you like him. Thanks, man. I like doing that short stuff. I got a short attention span, so when I do those, I only do those long videos like once a week now because I don't have the attention span for it. Although I am gonna try. I'm gonna do one tonight. That's another one. Domi has no value. He's putting up points, but there's attitude issues with Domi. And now you got Laine with potential attitude issues. Byfield, if Byfield becomes what he's supposed to become, yeah, I guess. I think Byfield is like a Wayne Primo type guy. How's he doing in the A now? How is Byfield doing in the A now? Yeah, he's only got 1 goal in 6 games. I don't know. He's going to have to get more production than that before he's ready to come up. That's for sure. No doubt about that. I don't know where Domi's going to go. KHL maybe? Like, his reputation precedes him now. He scored a beauty the other night. Yeah, he shows that. Yeah, so he hasn't got back in yet, but I mean, I think they're looking to see a consistent production from Byfield. Like I think that in my take would be that, you know, for prospects like that who are big and strong, that Byfield got away with his size in junior quite a bit. There's aspects of his game he's got to learn to be a good player in the NHL. You can't get away. You can't get away with everything he got away with in junior. So there's a lot to learn. And for me, I wouldn't be bringing up a guy like Byfield until I see him crushing it in the AHL, like crushing it. I wouldn't be bringing him up at all. Just sit there as long as you need to, putting up like, you know, 1.5 a game or somewhere around there. And if you can't get to that point, then if Byfield only gets up to about 1 point a game in the AHL, and that's as far as he gets, you can pretty much be rest assured he's going to be like a 2-3 tweener. I know it's hard to hear that. I mean, like when it's your prospects and stuff, we all think that we have superstars in our prospect pool, but even when Byfield got drafted, I had some questions about what his offense was going to translate to in the NHL. That being said, I think he could be, you know, at the very least, he's going to be a darn good two-way guy. Maybe like a Hayes in Philadelphia, except healthy. You know, somebody like that. You know, at least like that. And there's nothing wrong with that. Big centers that can play like that are freaking awesome. It would be awesome if he breaks out like 1.5 a game and he's a point a game top line center that is physical and all that stuff like that. I mean, that's the upside that he has. A point per game in his last 15, yeah. If he can go at a point per game consistently to start off with, that's good. And if he gets up to like, if he's getting over a point a game and starting to get, and starting to get the idea that there's a certain kind of physicality that's got to go with your size to be in the pros, which I think he probably will, he could be unbelievable. He could be like a Tavares. I think he could have Tavares type upside. No doubt about it. And that would be, beautiful for LA. Absolutely beautiful. If he turned out to be like a Tavares type, but the good thing about being in LA is they're not going to rush anyone. They don't rush any players. A lot of players would have been playing Kaliev in their top 6 by now. And same as Kupari and all that. They take them slow. And you got to learn every aspect of the game, be a complete player before you're going to get the minutes. Yeah, Velarde's a different story. Velarde should be well above that. With Velarde, you got skating issues. Byfield is better skater than Velarde already at his size. So with Velarde, you got skating issues. That's the problem. And down in the AHL, his skill set can get a point a game. But up in the NHL, his skating won't allow him to get to the spots to do that. So until that skating is way, way better, hopefully he's working his bag off on it, because until it does, I don't, he's gonna have a rough go. He might end up being a bottom 6. Did I see your last 2 comments? Which teams do you think aren't ready to be contenders this season? New York Rangers first. I don't think they're quite ready to be a contender this season, but next year I think they got a really good chance to start heading that direction. Lafreniere's starting to look really good. I like Kakko. He reminds me of Palat in Tampa Bay. They so disappointing that Philip Heidel hasn't come stronger than he has right now. But their defense is shaping up fantastic, and they got a lot of really good players coming up. They got Jones playing in there right now, Schneider. There's another Robertson. Their defense could be absolutely insane. Of course, they got Shesterkin. I could see them adding and be better next year. LA, I thought LA was going to be a little better this year, but they're starting to pull it around. LA right now is that team that can't get over the hump against the top teams. They're going to beat up the lower teams, can't get over the hump over the top teams. They're very tweener right now. But if Kaliev steps up to be what he can be, and Hajin seems to think that he could be a 40-goal scorer, I'm not so sure about that. That'd be killer if he could. And Kupari, I like Kupari a lot. His game is rounding out to be one heck of a two-way center. And then Byfield, of course. How is he going to develop? How quickly is he going to develop? But I think they're gonna go after a big defenseman in the offseason this year. They need some size on their defense there in LA. And then, of course, the goaltending situation. So they have some holes, but which players? Are you surprised no one picks Richie off waivers? No, his contract's too high. He can't get past being a 4th liner anywhere he goes. So nobody's going to pay $2.5 million for a 4th liner that can't play defense worth a darn. So I'm not surprised that nobody took him off. But what was the last one? Which players could you see them add at the deadline? Who's that? The Rangers? The Rangers, I hear, are on hurdle, but I think they're on hurdle to sign him long term. So I think Hurdle would be so far from what I'm hearing, Hurdle would be that guy. These are great questions. One player that could be traded at the deadline that nobody... Who else is out there? Name a player that you think could be traded at the deadline that nobody sees coming, like off the board, that nobody sees coming. That nobody sees coming. That's going to be a tough one. I mean, I might have to think about that one. A player that could be traded that nobody sees, like, just like, whoa, what the heck? How the heck? Didn't see that coming. Wow. I think that would probably be the Islanders. Would probably pull one of those deals off right now. If they decide, you know what, we're not going to do her again, maybe. But who? Really, who? Maybe Brock Nelson? Brock Nelson, maybe? They trade Brock Nelson, and then, because they trade Brock Nelson because they got their eye on another center in the offseason. Klingberg in Dallas, hey, good one, Eugene. If they think they're not going to be able to come up with a contract for Klingberg, they got some young guys coming up like Harley and guys like that. Brock Nelson, yeah. I could see Brock Nelson. It's depending, like, think about some, they might want to make room. You know, they got Pajot there. He's not really what you want to use for your second line center. Wahlstrom really was supposed to be a center. I don't know if they want to go back to that experiment again. But if they got somebody in mind in the offseason that they could play big for, pay big for, and they want to open up that cap room, I think they possibly could think that they got enough depth, or they could find another center to do that. So that would be one off the top of my head, maybe. Yeah. Besser? Yeah, are they going to be able to sign Besser in Vancouver? That's a really good question. That could be one. That's not really out of the blue because there has been talk about that. And I don't know. I think that depends on... I'm pretty sure Rutherford doesn't want to trade him. But I think a lot of that will depend on how much Besser wants to stay in Vancouver. Doesn't appear to be. Hockey News reports. They seem to be doing really well with Brunette there, so it doesn't appear that they're going to be looking anywhere else. As long as that team is playing the way it is right now, I think they're just going to keep on going with it. You like Besser over Laine I think I do too. He's got a killer shot too. He can score. I think my take on it for Besser is that maybe he wants to play in the United States. And man, that'll be some kind of a trade if he gets traded. And he's from Minnesota, so yeah. Yeah, he hasn't been the same. It's like he never progressed as much as anybody really thought he would. Um, he looked like a guy that could be a 30 to 40 goal scorer every single season. And I don't know what the problem is there, but it seems to me that he's looking to still get 30, 40 goal scorer money. And if that's the case, it's going to be pretty hard for Vancouver to pony that up with that defense that they have, the problems that they have on their defense. And a lot of times, players will use their salary situation to kind of say, I don't know if I want to be here. You know, if I'm going to be here, I want $7 or $8 million a year. And the team's like, well, you haven't did enough to show us that you're worth $7 or $8 million a year. And they say, well, maybe he's saying because of this, because of that, or, you know, whatever the case may be, making reasons. And they're like, I can't pay you that kind of money. And he just holds on to that number over and over and over again. And, you know, really he wants to go to, you know, Minnesota or whatever. I don't know if Minnesota would be the place, but Besser proved it. I think he's shown that he can do it. I don't know if he's shown that he can do it consistently. Let's bring up Besser. Taves and Kane, I think, are going to go. I think they all know in Chicago that the rebuild is up. The way they played, the way they've been playing, it tells me that the rebuild is up for them. Where's Vancouver? Vancouver. See, he's got, yeah, his first 2 years he had 55 points in 62 games, almost 30 goals. And then next year he had 56. And then it's been 45, 49, and now he's on that, like, you know, bad team, whatever. So what is he? He's only 24. I think he's got way more upside than what he's shown. And the real question I think for Vancouver is, like, you know, what is he? What does he want to be for himself? And then the other question is, does he want to be in Vancouver? So what's his contract? It's up this year. He's making 5.8 right now. So to qualify him, he's going to need like around 6 already. So actually, how does that work? Do you qualify him on his AAV or you qualify him on his base? I think you qualify him on his base at the end of the contract, right? So that would be the problem. He's making 7.5. They're going to have to qualify him at $8 million. Has he shown that he's an $8 million player so far? Yeah, I saw it all right. I had Florida to win that. I thought they were going to win that handily. Dallas hadn't played for a long time. Florida was rocking it. Holtby was in net. Like, to me, that was Florida all day. I did have the over, and I had team total over for Florida, but yeah, I watched. I watched parts of it here and there. Where could I see Taves and Kane go? I did a Taves traded to everywhere video before. Bob is terrible in the shootout. And Bob, again, has been so inconsistent this year. Sometimes he plays really well. 2 back-to-back 5-holes, and they, shots he should have had. It's the same thing with Bobrovsky over and over again. You can't blame the defense anymore because the defense has been playing pretty good in front of them. So, yeah, it was terrible. I think Taves would like to go to like Colorado. He'd like to go anywhere where he can win a cup. Now, I don't know what they're going to do about his contract or how they would make that work, but I think, anywhere where he can win a cup. Tampa Bay, Colorado. I think he'd be fine with Florida, although I don't think that's realistic. I heard that Calgary had made a phone call. Because I'm pretty sure Sutter would be all over that. Well, they would definitely have to retain salary. They would probably have to take a player back. They would have to take a player back. And then, whatever. Oh, yeah. Huberdeau's got a great shot. Yeah. And he doesn't use it enough. He's sort of like Thornton that way. He's like the left-wing version of Thornton. He passes. He's always thinking pass. But I heard Calgary was in on Taves. And I imagine that would be something like Monahan, plus. I don't think they're going to get all that much for Taves if they do trade him. But it does seem like a Calgary move to take a guy like Taves. Sutter would freaking love him. I don't know if Taves would be interested in going to Calgary or not, but what other team would go to get Taves? Other teams that would think about Taves. New York Islanders take more old guys. It would be a bad mistake, but for 2 years at Taves, I think Calgary is like one of the few teams that might have enough, like some pieces that would work that he would want to go to. I know a team that would be freaking, and I don't know where Lauren went today. Lauren is gone. I don't understand where Lauren went today. I know a team that would be like awesome if they had him, but I don't think there's any way they could ever get him because they could definitely use a guy like him for the playoffs, and that would be Carolina. No, you're not going to get much for him. You're just basically getting rid of a contract, and that's it. Well, they did. They were rebuilding, and they didn't tell anybody. When they said they were rebuilding, they were rebuilding before that. To me, it looked like they were just waiting for these contracts to either be buyoutable or tradable. And that's what Hextall was doing in Philadelphia. Hextall was waiting for Giroux's contract to be either tradable or buyoutable. And I think that's what they were doing the whole time. And while they were doing it, they, were picking up as many draft picks as they possibly could. Sort of what San Jose has to do, except it's way worse. Rodriguez, 40 goals. I don't know. I don't even know how to explain what Pittsburgh does. I don't even know how to explain it. I think it's a Crosby factor and Sullivan factor. Somebody who was on here said that Crosby could be the coach. A coach. It was Lauren. And I don't know why he's not here. It kind of feels sort of empty inside. Lauren was saying that he thought Crosby could be a coach after his, and I wouldn't doubt that. The guy lives at the rink. But he's like having another coach, and I think that's the reason why Sullivan never got Coach of the Year, because Crosby is like having another coach. And they turn players that don't into gems all the time. Rodriguez always had speed. He always had sort of a game to him, but he's just, I think Crosby's one of the hardest working people off the ice too. And I think he kind of tells people, you know what, I can help you out become a 30-goal scorer. Just, follow me, do what I do, watch what I do. And, hit the gym this way, do this way. And Rodriguez just has gotten stronger on his skates, stronger at everything. And now he's, I don't know, could he become a 40-goal scorer? I never would have thought he would have been doing as well as he is right now. So, yeah. Look at Rust, too. There's a good example. Rust, yeah. Rust is a great example of that. I started all this by looking at the games last night. Gunsel was always thought to be good, but would he have been as good if he was in Pittsburgh? I mean, maybe not, I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe he would be as good if he was in Pittsburgh, maybe not. So that all of that we did just talking about the Columbus game, and the next one was the Penguins and the Flyers. I mean, that was just ridiculous. Everybody knew the Penguins were winning that game. The Flyers have nothing right now. They got nothing. That team has given up on everything. From what I can tell, they have totally given up. They have no confidence whatsoever. They're not playing with any heart at all. No speed, no pace, nothing. And Yo hasn't did a darn thing for it to have it work. So, and I'm not sure what you do. I'm not sure what you can do in Philadelphia. No, I think Hart's been fine. Hart is not the problem there. Hart's attitude might be a problem there. He seems pretty whiny. And I think that's why oh, really? Sullivan was the one that told, okay. Sullivan's got to get at least one Coach of the Year before he retires. I don't know why you want Ruff gone. I think he's doing a good job with that team. I think he's doing a good job with that team. The team's starting to learn how to fight. I mean, that's a young team that's learning how to fight and bounce back and all the things. And they don't really have a lot of veterans to fall on there to show the way. So he's kind of the veteran to show the way. I would like to see them maybe find somebody to give Ruff some help there. They're a step behind on the ice all the time. I don't know. You know what? Most Devils fans, most fans, period, not Devils fans. I think most fans, period, just when their team is losing, they always want to fire the coach. A lot of fans don't really have and I'm not putting those fans down. I'm a Blue Jays fan, okay? But I'm not a baseball fan. So when the Blue Jays are losing, my first mind is like, I don't know enough about the game to say fire the coach or whatever the case may be, but I know enough to know that I don't know that. So I don't really say that, but I could see it. People are passionate about a team. They want this team to get better right away. And they thought that Lindy Ruff was going to carry this team to the playoffs this year. I said that they were going to surprise this year. I didn't think they were going to make the playoffs. I thought they would just barely miss it. And maybe they're not quite as good as I thought they would be. But I have a tendency to overvalue young players. So, and I thought Bernier was going to be killer in New Jersey, and he's been injured, so it's hard to say what he'd actually be because he was so good in Detroit. That would be killer if they traded for Bonino. They can't get over that they lost out on Laviolette and Gallant. Laviolette was not going to take a New Jersey team. I mean, they're not. He's a guy, at his stage of his career, what he does, he's going to go with the team that has a veteran team that he can motivate. He's not a guy that's going to sit there and stroke rookies forever. It's just not him. So there was no way they were going to get him. Gallant, I don't know what happened there. I suppose New Jersey was on the table. Could have been a financial thing or whatever the case may be, but I really like Lindy Ruff. I think he's got a bad rap over his career. I think he did a lot of. The thing about Lindy Ruff is in Buffalo they'll say that it was Dominic Hasek and that was it. And then he went to Dallas and he was trying to do something that nobody has been able to do, and that's get Dallas to score goals. So he went there, it didn't work out. Nobody has been able to do it since. Maybe a little more now, but they went through a couple coaches after him that couldn't do it. They could have did Gallant. I don't know. Maybe you're right. I never heard anything about that. Habs will have a new GM in 10 days or less. Am I ready? I guess. To me, they already have their GM. They just don't want to call him that. So whoever it is going to be a guy that's learning from Gorton. He's sort of like the assistant GM. And maybe somewhere down the road, Gorton is not there anymore or whatever. So I don't think they're going to get a very experienced GM because I don't see any GMs taking that spot and being an underling to Gorton. And I think that's pretty much what they're going to get. They're going to get an underling. Oh, by the way, Martin Madden Jr. out? Oh. He's out in Anaheim? Why? Who do I think the Habs do? I have no idea. It doesn't really matter, honestly. I think it's going to be a player. Like, there's that guy, it's going to be French-Canadian. There's that guy in Tampa Bay that I don't think it would be wise for him to take it. And I can't remember their names because they're not like high on anyone else's list. It's just because they're French-Canadian. It won't be Waugh because he's not going to be an underling to anybody. Like if I'm a general manager, like in the guy in Anaheim and stuff like that, I don't know if I want to take that. And I don't think Darsh will want it. Briere sounds better. I don't think it would be wise for Darsh to take that. He's basically going from the same role to the same role. The only reason why I think Darsh would take that is because it's in Montreal. So it'd be for family reasons. But basically, he's making a lateral move. Yeah, sure. I think everybody, I know you're going to have the GM title, but I think everybody in the league knows who pulls the strings there will be Gorton. Like, to me, they hired Gorton because Gorton is a guy that can rebuild, has been known to rebuild really, really well. But they don't want to give anybody that's English speaking the general manager tag. So Briere is like very green in the GMing role, extremely green. He's not close to ready to be an actual GM. So he could go there, learn from Gorton, and be like an assistant GM, and that I think could be like really possible. Probably was financial. Hockey News reports about Briere doing that. Probably a financial thing. I would imagine it would be something to do with finances. I imagine he wanted to go in Montreal, but they couldn't make it work financially. I'm not sure. Maybe he really didn't want to play in Montreal like under all that lights, but I find that hard to believe. I think he's the type of guy that likes to have that. So I would think it was probably more of a financial thing than anything. That's weird. I got 5 people in. Who's in here? Because every time I check my participants, it's only Hockey News reports. I don't think my playbacks and everything are working right now. Oh, there you go. So yeah, Briere would be my pick, I would say. But all right, the next game from last night, we only did one. We did 2. Penguins and the Flyers. Stars and Panthers. And I just was very... Bobrovsky again. I don't know what they're going to do with Bob. I don't know. Like that Florida now is almost got to the point where I doubt Luongo, yeah. Florida now has got to the point where they're almost not a contender because of Bobrovsky. Spencer Knight, I don't think, is not quite ready yet. I mean, and nor should he be at 20 years old. And Bobrovsky is just too bloody inconsistent. Some days he doesn't put it together every single night. His head's in the clouds, it seems, sometimes. And the thing about Bobrovsky is like the one that trickled in between his legs, like the first one that trickled between his legs that game. He acted like he didn't act like a goaltender should in that situation. He didn't look up at the sky and go, like I should have had that one. You don't see Bobrovsky ever look like he'll admit that he should have had that shot. And from what I've heard, he's blamed the defense a lot there. Or like originally, he was blaming the defense a lot. Oh, Brodeur would have been a candidate for Montreal, but he declined. Yeah, he's in St. Louis, right? I think he's just happy being in St. Louis, yeah. And again, Brodeur, I think, wants to be an actual general manager. So going there is awkward. He's prepared he's preparing somewhere down the road to be an actual general manager. He doesn't want to go be like this figurehead for the league, for Montreal, or at least that's the perception anyways. I'm pretty sure that he doesn't want to go there and be like this figurehead. That's what it feels like you are over there. You're taking a job. Oh, he's in New Jersey again. Sorry about that. It feels like he's taking a job that that he's basically like a puppet. Come out and say it. I have no idea, but I think he probably could be. I agree with Lauren that he probably could be, for sure. It makes sense. I mean, he lives in the rink constantly, and coaches do that. I mean, that's a guy that shows up in the rink first thing in the morning and is there all day. Like, that's his home. He loves it there. He doesn't have kids. He doesn't have anything. All he does is go to the rink every day. And that's what coaches do. Coaches are at the rink first thing in the morning, planning everything out, saying hi to all the guys. And I think that's right up his alley. The only thing that I would wonder about is how he is with, speaking in front of people and all that kind of stuff like that. He seems like a guy that can do that. I would put it at pretty high odds that Crosby's a coach after he retires. Personally, I think that would be pretty high odds. And probably in Pittsburgh. You always knew that they were going to regret it. I was suspicious of it because he started getting a big head about himself in Columbus. Like the one time in Columbus, he apparently left the rink with his equipment on. He was so angry. And you just started hearing a lot of murmurs. Like, to me, he seemed to get a big head about himself more and more and more. And that's like the kiss of death for goaltenders. So I was concerned about it. What was that guy in Philadelphia, crazy goaltender that they signed to like a super long contract out of Anaheim? And he was also just so happens to have been Russian. But, he had that. The only guy I know, there's only two goaltenders that I know that had a really big head, but one more than the other, that were super successful. That was Patrick Waugh and Dominik Hasek. Dominik Hasek was the best goaltender ever, probably. And apparently he had a really big head, but I wouldn't have said that it was super noticeable, but Waugh it was. Yeah, I mean, if he puts it together, Blackwood's going to be absolutely fantastic. His reflexes are awesome. He's big, he's solid, everything. But there's times when he gets lost in the net, and Brizgalov, that's the one. I love Hasek too. I'm only hearing that from what I heard, that he was arrogant and stuff. I personally never really thought he was. I just thought he was very quirky and, like he was eccentric. But I didn't really. But Patrick Waugh, that was an arrogant guy, man. Patrick Waugh, like pure. You saw it on the ice. You saw it in his interviews. You saw it everywhere. I think that was a joke. Brizgalov had a really crazy sense of humor. But he went downhill so hard. So hard. All right, let's get to the next game. It's funny, we talk about the game, we don't even really talk about the game. Brizgalov, bad. Let's move on to the next one. Colorado Avalanche, we already talked about it. Coyotes, Blackhawks. The Blackhawks have given up. Totally given up, and I'm really mad that I didn't go to I'm mad that I didn't go with Arizona on that game last night. Arizona did get some fluky goals, but the Blackhawks should have won that game if they would have had any heart and desire. They had the skill to beat the team, but they've got no desire there right now. It's ugly to watch, to tell you the honest truth. Kane got potted a couple and stuff, but Taves has got 11 assists now. There's a lot of frustration in that room. I take it like Jonathan Taves is a killer leader when things are going well, but I don't think he's a very good leader when they're not. You know what I mean? Well, Edmonton should be looking at a guy like Fleury, I think, but it's a pretty tough trade to make. Oh, yeah. Yeah, even if they do get Fleury, as much as I like Fleury, I still don't think I still don't put them as a contender. Their defense is too brutal. Maybe, I mean, Fleury can do amazing things, so it's possible he could possibly do it, but, I mean, if they have a chance at all, it would be with a goaltender like Fleury, no doubt about it. What do you get back in that deal? What do you get back in that deal, though? Like, that's the hard part. You bring up Edmonton here. The Edmonton Oilers. Okay. Koskinen, but, I mean, that's really only till the end of the year. That's like not giving up anything at all. That's just to make the money work. That's it. Chicago retains. Are they just going to retain everything? Like, they got to retain Taves. They got to retain... Mikko Koskinen and what? You got to give something up. They're not going to give up their first. There's only so many, like, I don't think Chicago has all that much leverage. Yeah, help me out here. I don't know. Like, okay, get rid of some bad contracts and give them your second or maybe even the first. And like Kyle Turris and Koskinen. Chicago's doing you two favors there, taking those contracts. Nobody wants those. No way. Broberg, I'm not going to give up Broberg. I don't think you give up that much for Fleury, because where else is Fleury going to go with that contract? I don't think there's going to be enough. Not because Fleury isn't fantastic. Unless Washington gets involved, which I think they should. Pittsburgh, I think, it just makes sense. Fleury is as much as Jari has been playing well, they could look at Fleury because their window is like right now in Pittsburgh. And if you're going to win, Fleury would be right now. Fleury could do it. Pittsburgh could actually win the cup if they got Fleury, I think. Do you think Pittsburgh's going to win the cup with Jari? Probably not. But if Fleury's hot in the playoffs, he could do what Price did for Montreal, I think. I wouldn't give up Ryan McLeod or Broberg. I hate to say it, but I would just... I love Ryan McLeod. I think he's got a ton of upside. And if I got to go do that, why not just wait because you're only going to have him probably for 1 year anyways. I doubt he resigns in Edmonton. Maybe I consider that if he's willing to resign in Edmonton. Maybe. But you're really swinging for the fences here, because if Fleury gets injured and he's 30-some years old, if he starts slipping now, he's at that age where that could be happening, you're giving up two really, really good. I mean, Broberg is looking like a top 4 for sure. It just doesn't feel like... I don't even think that Edmonton can win the Cup if they have Fleury. I guess the question is, do they think that they can win the Cup with Fleury? If they think they could win the Cup with Fleury, I mean, they wouldn't give Broberg for Chychrun. Broberg was off the table for Chychrun, and Chychrun's a young, possible future Norris candidate. So my take is I would possibly give my first this year. And I think Chicago would be happy to have that. My first this year. Yeah. Yeah, I just, like, I know Fleury's a great player, but he's making a lot of money. And Chicago would kind of have, like, if they were able to give a third and a prospect for Duncan Keith, I guess. What the hell? Give up Broberg for Fleury. The thing is that I don't think they win the Cup with Fleury, even with Fleury, with that defense. I don't. That defense is so bad. And Fleury is amazing, but you're asking so much for them to win with that defense. I don't think they probably don't win a round this year if they keep the defense the way it is, and if they don't get goaltending. Tough call, buddy. Ryan McLeod, oh my gosh. I really like Ryan McLeod. I think that's what I'm trying to say. I like Ryan McLeod a lot. And they can pick up a goaltender in the offseason and just basically mail the season in again. Work on some defense. I think part of the problem is I'm just fed up with the Oilers. They just dropped the ball so bad this offseason. I don't know if there's a return. You got to find a home for Barry. You got to do something about that. You can't have Barry on your defense going into the playoffs. Cody Ceci, like, really? That defense is going to do something in the playoffs? I don't see it. Hasek is an interesting person, he sure is. Am I the only one in the house? Where is everybody today? That's it. It's just me. Is there anybody else in here? Did I just lose my concurrent viewer thing? Who's here now? There we go. Hey, whoever's here, welcome back. Welcome in. How many people have watched that short that I did? No one. Yeah, I'm out of here.